Hi everyone, my name is Liz Davis Frost. I'm a senior communication major from Birmingham, Alabama. And I say that because I grew up in a very conservative bubble of a town where the majority of the conversations I had that were outside of my high school were about college football. Roll Tide, if anybody catches that. So after I arrived at Cornell, I realized a few things. One, after getting out of my bubble of a hometown, I realized that the world was kind of crazy. And then I realized that a lot of the crazy stuff that was going on really affects me. And then the third thing I realized was that if I'm going to complain about it, I should probably try to do something about it too. And so that's what I did. And now obviously there's a plethora, so this is Alabama, I forgot to do the clicky thing. So there's obviously a plethora of issues that are going on right now revolving around sustainability. But during my first semester here, the one that really stood out to me was climate change, obviously, because that's the topic that I never really talked about in high school, and it was something that I didn't realize how proximal it was to me. And so again, sustainability is obviously a topic that's really important, because if it weren't, none of us would be here right now, and this fellowship would not exist, and I wouldn't have had a job this summer. And so just like all of the students here, I'm very thankful that I had the opportunity to take this class and learn how to effectively communicate sustainability messages. And so therefore, I ended up at the campus sustainability office this summer. And so before my internship started, I met with Sarah B. and Lisa, who were our two main supervisors this summer, and we went over our potential projects for the summer. And so the three broad topics were website engagement and information updates. So the CSO just got a new website with Cornell IT, so we're trying to update some of that stuff. And then living library project, which is this idea that's pretty across the board. Instead of doing projects and not having people know about them, we wanted to create this living lab database that just had every single sustainability project that existed on campus in a database where people could access it. So if you're interested in something, you can find other people that are doing the same stuff. And instead of 5 people doing one thing, you got 5 people doing one thing together. I don't know if that made sense. And then the third one was the Think Big, Live Green resources and rebranding. So on a lot of the light switches, you see turn off the light. That was us. Well, it wasn't me, but that was what they did before I was there. And so originally Graham and I were really optimistic and genuinely thought that we could tackle every single one of the 3 things that we were given on the first day. And then we soon realized that was just a goal that was not attainable at all. And especially within this work and on this college campus, there's so many facets and so many factors that have to do with sustainability and with this issue. And so there's just no way that you can get everything done within a 10-week summer, like Ellie said. So this is what I'm going to talk to y'all about today. During my time at the campus sustainability office, I really honed in on the idea of the quadruple bottom line, which is something that they talk about a lot there. And so this is taken from the CSO website, and the quadruple bottom line boils down simply to purpose, prosperity, planet, and people. I really like it a lot because it has that alliteration that Miss Chambliss always tells us about. So the framework is a series of questions and practical tools which can be used for small projects, business system changes, and decision making at any level to help consider how choices we make enhance the well-being and health of people, enriches our campus and community's economic prosperity, protects and values ecosystems and our planet, and harnesses our leadership, our land-grant mission, and our academic purpose. And so basically, again, this boils down to purpose, prosperity, people, and planet. And since there are so many aspects of this, because there's 4, it soon became apparent that while all of the aspects of QBL are important, with certain projects and different things that we're trying to accomplish, certain parts become more apparent than others. So, for example, this summer, I mostly worked on the Think Big, Live Green rebranding, more specifically the Green Events Guide. So this is one of the portions of the guide I made, and I made food and water, registration, everything basically that you would have to go through when you're planning an event to make sure that it's as sustainable as possible. And so this project involved a lot of benchmarking of other Ivy Plus institutions, like a lot of benchmarking. And so it was really interesting because some of the Ivy Plus schools focus primarily on events that faculty and staff were putting on for faculty and staff, or faculty and staff were putting on for students, while others also focused on student events. And so for me, as a person who's really active on this campus with different social justice orgs, and does a lot of programming and event planning, when I was looking at this, I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, I want to be able to use this guide when I'm planning my events. So that was the perspective that I was thinking through when I was making this guide. However, after chatting with Kim originally, I realized that in the quadruple bottom line, people doesn't mean the people only in my sphere of influence, right? So it means people everywhere. And I thought this was really interesting because I was thinking back to an event I planned last semester for my sorority's philanthropy called Chopped. And it was basically like a play off of the show, you know? And so there were like 10 teams, and each team made like an entree, and then the judges would take one bite of the food and then just throw all the food away. And so when I'm making this a guide, I'm like, holy crap, I feel like there's a lot of people, a lot of students on campus who are doing this same stuff, and they're planning events thinking about the greater good or thinking about raising money for this philanthropy. But we also have to remember that, like, this is important. Like, planet's important. QBL is 4 things, not just one. And so the same idea became relevant when I realized that I was not the only person in the office that was doing things. And so at times I would get really frustrated with the Green Events Guide because I would, like everyone's been saying, like, we would give stuff to our bosses and then it would, like, maybe take a hot sec for it to come back. And that's because everybody else is also focused on other things that they find are important, and it's not saying that one thing's more important than the other. Everything's important. And so this was just a really cool learning experience for me. And I really appreciated being able to check myself and check my expectations, I guess, and not get upset and frustrated because there are so many factors. And so for me, I learned that, this is me with Kermit, our frog guy at daylight hour. I learned that one of the most relevant factors in my life was proximity, and the things that I think are most important regarding sustainability are the things that are most important to me, obviously. And so I think that is the biggest communication issue in the Office of Sustainability that I saw, is that there's just so much stuff going on at one time, and everything's important in their own different ways, and it was really hard to grasp at one point. But the closer it got to the end of the summer, I realized how beautiful that was in itself, right? There's so much going on, which means there's so much work that can be done and so much work that people can do. And I just got really inspired by the end of it. And so with so much going on and there's so much work to do, all hands can be on deck. And we can all work together to make some difference and make sure that the QBL's always reached. That's all. Thank you.